Look, man, everybody been asking for it. Classic Dead End Hip Hop review.
Hey, look, we're doing class reviews now, thanks to you. But if you want to nominate, be responsible for nominating who we review and what we review, head over to the reward section. That being said, let's go.
Dead End Hip Hop classic album review for all of the Patreons. Did I say it right? Patrons.
No, patrons.
Fuck!
Patrons.
Man, I see the E in my head, man. It
Patrons.
fucks me up, man. Patrons.
Yeah, if you want some say so in the choices that people can vote on, then become a patron at the classic level. And every once a month we put up a post, and then you can just drop your submission in there, and then we'll put it up in the poll.
But yeah, man, Enter the Wu 36 Chambers. This album, again, this was one I got too late. Back when I was in Miami, this was one of the groups that one of my homies was trying to put me on. But once I discovered Biggie, everything else was kind of like, okay, yeah, like I'm just messing with this.
I guess we need to say that we have a special guest on the show.
Oh yeah,
You ain't shit, right?
throw the hand up.
I heard the bees and everything.
My bad. Let me introduce Adon. He's been on the show multiple times before. We put a lot of his footage up in terms of him performing. He was on the joint mixtape. So without no further ado, man, Adon.
Hey, what up, good people? It's good to be here. Really happy to discuss an amazing classic album, and so thank y'all for having me.
Okay,
Got to it late.
Yeah, I got to this one late, man. I got to this one late. Like I said, man, like my border of when I really started like digging in was like hip hop that came '96, and then everything that came before that is kind of like I had to jump back. So I kind of listened to this like around the time I was getting put on the Biggie and stuff, but I was just so gone with that, like because Outkast I put to the side, and there was a lot of dope artists I put to the side. And then I remember when I started working with y'all, and y'all was telling me albums I needed to go back to. That's when I really dug into this, and I was like, holy fuck, I was fucking up.
So like 10 years ago? Was your first time listening to Wu?
Well, no, not my first time. Not my first time, but the first time that I really, I got immersed in it. Because I was introduced to this way back when, like in high school.
He just wasn't fucking.
I just wasn't you know what I'm saying? But then
Wu wasn't a South thing. Was you in the South by then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wu was not in. Well, it was some cats in my neighborhood that listened to it, but we was all like, man, why y'all listening to this?
Yeah, I listened to it in the South. But it was.
It didn't bump. It didn't bump. It was just like they rapping too much. Like I was like,
Never this rap music.
right.
Hey, remember I was talking about the white filter?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I got Wu. It went through that white filter. Interesting.
What you mean?
Remember I was saying that like it's just now connecting when I said that earlier, that the rap music that I was introduced to in high school and in middle school, it basically went through a white filter.
Okay.
Dre, and now I'm thinking Wu, like I got Wu pretty much immediately. And I'm thinking it was because
White people essentially signed off on stuff.
Yeah.
And that
in Conyers, yeah.
those rappers are the ones that got to you.
Yeah. Wow. And I never really thought about it until now.
Bone Thugs and Harmony, because white folks love Bone.
Yeah, Bone
From Ohio.
really
So
popular
in
Conyers.
Yeah.
Onyx.
Yep.
That's
all of those
Wow.
crossover groups.
I honestly didn't know that
very
southern black folks were not fucking with Wu.
No.
Yeah, Wu was not big in Florida, and like my homie, he was into a lot of the New York stuff, and that's the reason why I got into Biggie and other people, and eventually I got into Wu more so individually, but when I went back, when I started working out here with you guys and stuff like that, and I went back, I was like, damn, I was fucking up. I don't know, man. I feel like with some of these albums, I just feel like it's a little bit lackluster for me because I don't have these memories that you guys have. Oh my God, I remember when this shit came out, it changed the game. And for me, it's like I can listen to this stuff and be like, oh my God, this is amazing, but I don't know the culture. I wasn't part of that cultural impact that it had at the time. So it's kind of like I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, man, like I remember, 7 years ago, 8 years ago when I, was at actually got into this shit, and it was kind of like, okay, cool, like next. And I don't want it ever to come off like it's being disrespectful, like I don't fuck with these guys, or I don't understand that these are classics.
Yeah.
I do. It's just that I don't get as excited for them because
It's not a life experience.
It's not a life
attached to it,
experience.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I recognize it for what it is. I give it all of the praise and respect, but then it's kind of like, okay, next album, you know.
Like, you don't just get overwhelmingly hyped when this comes on.
Not overwhelmingly, but there are tracks on here that you know fucking bring the ruckus. Obviously, right when it comes in, Method Man is, you know, like, of course, Cream, of course.
Meth don't shame on a nigga, man. The way he was rapping on that shit, my God. ODB, like,
and I did not understand ODB growing up. I did not.
He was my favorite because he was the weirdo of the group.
I know. I just
He was
did
my
not.
favorite one.
He was my second favorite. Method Man was my favorite.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time. At that time, yeah.
A fan favorite.
But
back
so,
then
like
when they
in
first came out.
Mississippi, y'all were really bumping Wu.
I was. I don't even know,
okay,
dog,
okay,
bro.
okay,
I don't even know how this shit even got to me, to be honest. Like, you know, back then we subscribed to magazines and shit like that. Maybe I just started in a magazine or whatever. But I know I would just play this shit because it was so fucking dope. I didn't know what the fuck they were saying.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just playing it because the shit was dope. Then Can It All Be So Simple had that sample, which I thought was dope. Cream Get the Money was the fucking shit.
Cream is what pulled me in. Like, even though we weren't listening to it in Florida, when I saw the Cream video, I was like, this shit dope. Like, I was saying it to myself, whispering to myself, like, wait a minute, I like this. I won't play it around my friends, but I like this though.
It had a knock to it because I had a system at the time, so it had a knock to it. But it was just so different
It's
than
a
what a lot of
different knock,
other people were
though.
playing. Right,
It's
and
a
it was
different knock.
Yeah, and it was so different than what other people were listening to. So
Yeah.
there was that factor you added in.